Shalom from Israel, I'm Avi Melamed. Today I would like to talk about Iraq, a very substantial Arab state. Iraq is about 38 million people state. Majority of the Iraqi Arabs are Shiites. However, if you add to the equation the Iraqi Kurds, who are not Arabs, you will find out that in the end of the day, majority of the population of Iraq are Sunni Muslims. Iraq is going through a major power struggle in different dimensions that is enormously substantial for the future of Iraq as well as the future of the region. One power struggle, of course, is the fight of the Iraqi governments to eliminate ISIS control in different parts of Iraq. These very days, Iraqi forces are fighting to terminate ISIS' last major stronghold in Iraq, the city of Tal Afar, located some 40 miles west of the major city of Mosul, that was just recently liberated by the Iraqi government after 3 years it was ruled by ISIS. It seems, therefore, in that context, that ISIS' massive military presence in Iraq is coming to an end. The second power struggle that plays a significant role in the shaping of Iraq is the growing influence and impact of Iraq's neighbors to the east, Iran. Accumulative information indicates that Iran has a growing impact and influence inside Iraq in different dimensions and different aspects. One of the well-known one, of course, is the military one. Iranian forces as well as Iranian special military experts are present in Iraq, advising the Iraqi government on the fight against ISIS and participate on the fight against ISIS. A major military Iraqi unit known by the name of the Popular Mobilizations Units, or in Arabic Al-Hashd al-Sha'abi, units that are formed mostly by Iraqi Shiite militias, are taking substantial part in the war to eliminate ISIS control. Some of these units are massively armed, supported, and financed and guided by the Iranians. As Iran strives to increase its influence and presence in Iraq, as part of the large vision of the Iranian Mullah regime of creating a corridor of control stretching all the way from Iran to the Mediterranean, crossing through Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, the tension within the Iraqi political fabric is rising. In that context, a very significant development happened just recently with the visit of a prominent Iraqi Shiite leader by the name of Al-Sadr, who went to visit Saudi Arabia and met with the Saudi heir. Why is it so significant? Al-Sadr is a very well-known and popular Iraqi Shiite leader. For many years he used to be known as very close to Iran. However, as Iran's aspiration to increase its influence in Iraq has been increasing, Al-Sadr, who is an Iraqi, opposed and resent more and more those attempts. That explains the fact that Al-Sadr, basically after 11 years that he has not been to Saudi Arabia, and after many years that he used to be a very bitter opponent of the Saudis themselves, went to Saudi Arabia and met with the Saudi heir. That is a massive blow to the Iranian regime. There is another reason why the role and the move by Al-Sadr is very significant. Al-Sadr is very close with the most significant Shiite spiritual source of authority, Ayatollah Uzma, the Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani. Sistani, originally Iranian but lives in Iraq since 1951, is perceived to be the highest authority for the Shiites, definitely in Iraq and also in large parts of Iran. Sistani oppose decisively the attempts of the Iranian to increase their influence and impact inside Iraq. Right now we could already see that within the Iraqi political fabric there are camps that are lining along the lines of those who are opposing and rejecting the attempts of Iran to increase its influence, and those who are supporting the Iranian attempt and accordingly are massively supported by the Iranians. In that context, of course, we have to remember nothing stands alone in the Middle East, as I'm always saying, and one of my major themes is the one that talks about the 8 different stages of power struggle today in the Middle East between Iran and its biggest opponent, Saudi Arabia. We talked more than once about the different 8 stages: Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, 3 islands occupied in the Gulf, Bahrain, Yemen, the Gaza Strip, as well as the Iranian nuclear program. These are all 8 different stages of this power struggle in different levels of intensity. Iraq, for sure, is one of the most major central stages of this power struggle, and this power struggle is becoming more and more violent. Another axis of power struggle that shapes Iraq politics today and tomorrow, as well as the region, is the Kurds. The Kurds enjoy an autonomy in the northern part of Iraq under the leadership of the president of the Kurds in the northern part of Iraq, Masoud Barzani. In September 2017, supposedly there is a referendum that the Kurds in northern part of Iraq are planning to take regarding the question whether they would like to become an independent state. That referendum causes a lot of diplomatic hassle and actions, both beyond the scenes and mostly in front, where basically major regional players are trying to thwart or to push back and to avoid that referendum. The Iraqi government, the Turks, the Iranians, the United States of America all express rejection of the planned referendum. As of now, there are contradiction pieces of information regarding the question whether this referendum is really going to take place. Some analysts think that it is only a card that Barzani tried to apply given to many challenges that the Kurdish autonomy in northern part of Iraq faces. Other analysts think that this is for real and Barzani intend indeed to conduct this referendum. Others think that in the end of the day it will not take place. One way or another, we'll have to watch that issue very closely, because the outcomes of such referendum, if take place, the outcomes of course are very significant. Just for example, to understand, we have to look in that context on the issue of the Kurds in the north part of Syria. One of the major reasons Turkey strongly opposes the suggested Kurdish referendum is because Turkey is enormously concerned with the possibility of the establishment of a Kurdish autonomy in the north part of Syria. As Turkey is now engaged for the last couple of years with the war against the Kurds in Turkey, the PKK, Turkey is obviously concerned with the possibility that a referendum in the north part of Iraq, of the Kurds, that will potentially result in a declaration of the establishment of an independent Kurdish state, would obviously immediately radiate and impact the situation both in Syria and in Turkey, thus strengthening the separatist affiliations of the Kurds both in Syria and Turkey, and obviously, of course, causing a major challenge to Turkey. That is, of course, explain why Turkey is determinedly decisively oppose the suggested Kurdish referendum. All these 3 major axes of power struggle that today shapes Iraq to its core, as I said before, are enormously significant in the context of the future of Iraq, but not only the future of Iraq. It is very substantial in the context of the future of the region. Again, as I always emphasize, one cannot look at any component of the Middle East as if it stands alone. Everything is connected one to the other. The outcome of the war in Syria impacts Iraq. The outcomes of the situation in Iraq impact the situation in Syria, in Lebanon, in Yemen, and so on and so on. This aspect of the Middle East, the long link chain that is made of links that are all attached one to the other, is one of the major themes that I always bring in my different conversations and briefings. In that context, in the coming fall of 2017, I will be again in the United States for yet a new lecture tour entitled The Middle East 2017, The Games of Pawns, in which, of course, I will reveal how different factors in the Middle East, both regionally as well as globally, are basically using local cards, pawns, to enhance their interests. A sentence that is quite well known in the Middle East says, "The enemy of my enemy is not necessarily my friend." And to that end, I could add also that sometimes in the Middle East, my enemy is my best asset. To learn more about that and other topics that I'm talking about, you are very much welcome to approach me and to take an interest in the speaking engagement or the possibility to have a speaking engagement, and I'll be very happy to be cooperative to that end. Thank you for listening and watching. I'm Avi Melamed. Shalom from Israel.